what you have to do, and you get it done.
Now, we heard earlier reports from Lee about the privacy issues. Just a little thing from Stephen Colbert from the Comedy Central. He awarded him a fiery prize for instilling fear in Americans. Many controversies has arise from, privacy and all that. What do you think about that? Do you think that he values people's privacy, or do you think it's a way for him to get more ads onto people's pages, to continue, that bottom line dollar that he claims he doesn't care about as much as other people do?
Well, my take on it, and I feel like everybody would agree with me, is he does a lot of things, like Lee said, the $100 million he donated. He does that to further himself, and basically when it comes down to it, the only thing Mark values is himself. He values Facebook a lot, but Facebook is Zuck, and Zuck is Facebook. So he's got some good values that helps his company, but as far as other people are concerned, it's not really, he's not looking out for anybody else besides himself.
So now, what do you make of also his move of being, from earlier on the primary designer and, visionary for the company? Now he's kind of the face. He's out there. He's had that interview with Barbara Streisand. He's got the social network, all that kind of stuff. What do you think about that?
Well, again, like I said, he's just doing this for himself. He's really concerned with himself, and he does this to further the public image of him. And he knows that if people like him, and which most people don't, that they'll be more into Facebook and going with it. And it also helps his employees too. If they see that he's out there trying to promote Facebook, and it helps the company from top to bottom, but he does it knowing that it's going to help himself, really.
Now, one quick thing to end off here. I just want to go around and ask, what do you think, each one of you, the type of future that Facebook has? Do you think that his, powerful leadership style and all that will kind of catch up to him, or do you think Facebook is going to continue to grow with, you go to ESPN.com and you can go to like and it goes to your Facebook, or CNN.com and you can share with people very easily? Do you think Facebook is going to continue to grow at a high level, or do you think that the way that he has run his company will start to catch up to him and run him into the ground? Melvin?
I wouldn't mind touching on a little bit of that privacy aspect that you guys were going over earlier.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I felt like you were a little misleading, because it says that he cares about himself. I feel like Zuck is an idealist, and his whole thing his whole drive for Facebook is to make the world a more open place. And I feel like he's got these privacy issues, and it may be because people aren't necessarily as intelligent as I think Mark is expecting people to be. He's like, you don't put up exotic pictures of you and your significant other on there if you don't want other people to see them. So I think that he's gotten kind of a bad rap, but obviously he does need to hold back those reins on the privacy issue. But I feel like it's not so much that he's caring only about Zuck, it's that he's caring about his idea, and that this idea is going to stay there forever. And that's why he hasn't sold his company out, is because he's afraid they're going to take Facebook in a different direction.
Now, if you want to paint him in that good light about the privacy issues, why would he, when he originally started it at Harvard, why would he, seclude to Ivy League schools plus NYU, and then why also has he loosened up the privacy reins? When you originally signed up for Facebook, there were a lot more things that were locked. Now, when you sign up, the general things that many people think that they're just giving to the company, their address, types of that, will be put on the internet. Why do you think he switched it? He now says that he wants to make it more open and people will have, kind of like a phone book type idea with it.
I totally agree, but I also think if you look at Facebook users, some users get quite upset when they're not, when they're not able to access maybe someone's profile that they want. So I think that's also of some input they've gotten from users that, hey, like, this guy's profile is locked, I want to be able to look at it. Now, whether or not that's ethical, or I'm not a I wouldn't use him as
If they post it, it's out there. I mean,
exactly. But the point is that there are the options that you can lock your profile. That you can. There are those settings. So it's not that everything has to be open. You can have your profile locked.
Although I'll add that the default settings are all open, so unless you read that like million-page private, what he gives you. When
She does have a point, and I guess it all depends on. It all really comes down to how concerned you are personally about your privacy, and that I guess what I felt from Zuck is that it's your life. You need to be also responsible as well as you can't just let Facebook run.
Well, I'll go with that. To me, because I'm under the opinion more that Mark, he values himself, but to me, he switched from being pretty private to extremely open because he realizes for his company to grow, Americans they want to deal with gossip and stuff like that. So when you see a raunchy picture or somebody's status being updated to say something, it only makes users more attracted to Facebook and more addicted. And that really just plays into Zuck knowing that Facebook has to grow for himself. It just kind of, to me, he does that because he knows it's going to make him more powerful.
and it's also going to get more ads located
Exactly,
on the
that was
side,
the biggest
and
thing.
it's going to continue because, as we're seeing with these social network sites, this is a whole new frontier. We don't know, there was the dot-com bust back in the early 2000s, and now we're starting to see it that he's got 500 million people onto his website now. What's going to make them stay?
I would actually, if I could, argue that it's not even, Facebook has transformed from like college kids like hanging out, like throwing up their pictures, to businesses are all about Facebook. I've noticed every single business website you go on, it says Facebook this, or, at my own job now, since I've left Facebook, we're dealing with Facebook and trying to correspond. I mean, it's basically free advertising for any company that wants it. And people get on there and then they realize all their favorite things are on there. But again, the scary thing is these companies maybe don't have the same privacy policy as Zuck or as Facebook does. And so you click on some company and you're giving away your information, not realizing that it's not affiliated with Facebook. So I think there's a huge amount of growth to happen with businesses using Facebook. And those are going to be huge. I think those are going to be huge users in the future. And I think that Facebook will succeed in that sense.
Yeah, but I also think that he's taking the necessary steps needed to make sure that it continues to grow by going out and hiring executives from Yahoo and Google to help make sure that the changes that need to be made to Facebook so it can continue to grow at the rate it has been is truly what making this company thrive and become stronger as far as business and ads, because in short run, all that came from Google with the ads, the advertisements. So getting people that work for Google and Yahoo to come over and be like, oh, we can help you develop this into something way more than what it is really making it a stronger company in the long run.
It's interesting. Now, all four of you have since left Facebook. One thing I'd want to ask, what would make someone from, Yahoo or someone coming right out of, a big time university, a Harvard, a UCal Berkeley, something like that, want to work for him? I mean, we've heard that he doesn't really listen to people. He listens to them, but at the end of the day, it's their shot. How do you really progress in a company like Facebook?
I think that Zuckerberg is something that anybody in that area would idealize. They'd want to be him, essentially, maybe. And so I don't know if it would be a way to grow their own knowledge working under a guy like him, or if it's just the success of Facebook and they see a future for it. And I mean, Yahoo has not had the success that Facebook has.
Yeah.
Google, and like he was saying with the problems they're having versus Facebook. I mean, it's like a war out there.
Now, Lee, do you think also that the constant turnover of employees also helps? I mean, this is an area that has, like we've been saying, is very new. It's constantly growing. Do you think constant fresh ideas in there from younger people in other fields, do you think that is what has also strived to make Facebook what it is today?
Yeah, although like we all kind of realize he's going to make the decision in the end. I mean, he does listen to feedback, and he definitely listens to feedback of users. I mean, his decision-making process is absolutely about making a decision and seeing what the feedback is. But I don't know if people realize that that's how he operates. That you're not going to get credit for a great idea. He might actually listen to it, but it's not on you. It's for the company, and you just have to be open to realizing that whatever you contribute to Facebook is for the good of Facebook.
And I mean, I think the decisions that he makes, he's not afraid to fail. Zuck is going to make these decisions. They might be bold decisions, but he's not afraid to fail, and that's why Facebook is the most innovative company, because they're able to take these risks, and he has no problem taking those risks.
One thing I've also noticed, I used to be on Facebook, not anymore, but when they would constantly come out with updates, and I know that's to get more ads and make things more user-friendly and everything, but you just, it's really weird, the like button and all that kind of stuff, it just becomes part of Facebook now. It's something that you're on every day, and he just does a great job of integrating that. Does he have that kind of like viewpoint when he goes into it, or is he just simply just moving Facebook forward?
Well, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for all of us, but I feel like he listens to feedback from the actual users. Like right now, I've heard that they're going to incorporate now a dislike button, and because I guess I don't know if you've been.
They had that for about 3 days, and then it got taken away for some reason.
Yeah, so I mean, I mean, I don't work there anymore, so I'm not sure, but I know that the fact that like people were asking, like we should have a dislike button. So the next thing you know, they're maybe developing a dislike button. So I think a lot of it has to do with user feedback when it comes to things like that.
He likes to hold like town hall meetings on Facebook to get feedback from the users and go from there to figure out problems and issues that need to be corrected.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the program tonight.